Welcome to another episode of the Gull Mouth Action podcast, where we take a look at all the latest goings on at Brighton, Hove Albion and Crawley Town. I'm Matt Pole, and this week I'm joined by Brighton writer Derren Howard, Sam Morton, who covers both Albion and Crawley Town, as well as Red Devils expert Mark Dunford. It's been a busy week for Brighton. The Seagulls have announced their first two signings in the summer and discovered their itinerary for the upcoming 2025-26 Premier League campaign. This week, we'll give you the lowdown on Albion's two new faces, highlight the key league fixtures the Seagulls have to look forward to next season. Plus, we'll bring you all the latest, as ever, from Crawley Town. You can read all the stories we're talking about, the videos and pictures online at sussexworld.co.uk/sport. And you can check out other great videos on shotstv.com and Freeview channel 262. You may also be watching on Latest TV, so thank you very much for tuning in. Brighton's first major summer signing was completed last week. The Seagulls have signed 18-year-old forward Babis Kostoulis for $29.78 million from Greek side Olympiakos. The teenager has signed a 5-year contract that will start on the 1st of July. Derren, what has the fan reaction been to this signing, and what has Brighton manager Fabian Herzl had to say about this new signing?
Yeah, he looks a good prospect, and from what we hear, he's been playing regularly for Olympiakos in the Greek Super League, and he's really impressed. And there were quite a number of teams after him, and Brighton. It seems quite a scoop for Brighton to capture his signature. Apparently, Kostoulis, his agent, was saying how well Brighton sold their package to them as well. He had a number of offers from across Europe and in the Premier League as well, but they were impressed with Brighton's plans for him, what they wanted to achieve for him, and how they can improve him as well as he develops as a player. He's only 18 years old, so there's no major rush for him to jump straight into the team. Brighton have still got the experience of Danny Welbeck, Jorginho Rutter as well. He's got another year of Premier League experience. So, but I think he's going to play a key part in the team next season. I don't think he looks ready to go. They say he's only 18, but when you look at him, he looks physically, he looks like a sort of a mid-20s, or he looks ready to go in the Premier League. So I think he will play a major part, and it's a really exciting signing for Brighton, and one I'm really looking forward to see him play. And he's going to team up with the other Greek striker that Albion signed as well, Stefanos Tsitsipas as well. So this is supposed to be a new golden generation of Greek talent, and they'll be on display at Brighton most weekends. So it looks a really good signing, the pair of them.
Albion's deal for Kostoulis represents by quite some distance the highest fee ever received by a Greek club, beating the 16.6 million Wolves paid to sign Daniel Podence from Olympiakos in 2020. Derren has bigged up Kostoulis a little bit, but would you see the amount of money that they've paid, Sam? How much of a gamble is this signing for Brighton? Is there a worry that he could end up, not to say that he will, be the Greek Rasmus Højlund potentially?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I read an article on Sky Sports which said the deal may seem high risk from the outside, but those who have worked with Kostoulis see it differently. One of his former coaches was quoted in the article as saying, "For me, it's low risk. It's a low risk decision because I see a lot of potential in him. He can adapt and he can quickly understand what the game requires. He can play in all the positions in the front line." And his versatility is just part of the appeal. And is he technical skills to link play, beat defenders in one-on-ones, create chances, combine with teammates when coming short or drifting wide. And he also boasts the frame and physicality of a far older player, which Derren mentioned as well. And he was part of the Olympiakos side that competed a League and Cup double last season, scoring 7 goals with 2 assists in 35 games. And he was also linked with Man United, Spurs, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, and becomes the second most expensive signing in Brighton's history after the £40 million spend for Jorginho Rutter. So I guess the hope now is that he will join the list of young players that have flourished at Brighton and have obviously then gone on for big fees and generated huge profit for Brighton. So it's a really interesting signing for Brighton, and knowing them, it'll be one that will be a success because they very rarely get it wrong.
Fingers crossed. Brighton have also completed the signing of Hellas Verona centre-back Diego Coppola for an undisclosed fee. The 21-year-old, who's been capped twice for Italy but is currently playing for the under-21s at the under-21s Euros in Slovakia, signed a 5-year deal with the Seagulls. This seems like another one for the future, Derren. can we expect to see him feature from the get-go next season? And again, what did Zell have to say about his new man?
Yeah, he looks an exciting signing. Again, 21 years of age, as you say, and he looks a good prospect. A typical Brighton signing. Plenty of room to improve, plenty of room to develop. Although he has been around the Verona first team for a couple of seasons now, so he's impressed in Serie A. And as you mentioned, he received his call up to the Italian national squad and has made two appearances for his country. So he's very highly thought of, and I think Brighton are looking for a long-term partner for hopefully if Jean-Paul Van Hecke stays for the next few seasons, then Coppella could be a regular alongside Jan-Paul Van Hecke. Obviously, he can still learn a lot, and the likes of Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster can help him along the way as well. But you saw last season, Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster, their injuries, they haven't always been that reliable with injuries. So it's an area that Brighton needed some consistency and to improve upon as well. In particular, I think the defence is going to take a little bit of a revamp this summer. There's talk of Pervis Estupiñán moving on. Igor Julio has also expressed interest in moving, said it's unlikely that he'll fulfil his contract as well with Brighton. So there's going to be quite a bit of change in the back line. They've got Oliver Boscagli joining from PSV as well. He's set to sign in July. He's going to arrive after 6 seasons with PSV. He's 27 years old, so he's more experienced, and he's likely to sort of be Premier, ready to go as it were. So there's going to be a lot of changes, but Coppella is a really good signing who hopefully can help them in the here and now, but also he's going to be a long-term addition to the team as well.
Sticking with the player front, Brighton have extended the contract of James Milner by another season, an idea which will take the midfielder past his 40th birthday. Milner has been with the Seagulls since joining them after his contract with Liverpool ran out in summer 2023. What do you make of this deal, Sam? How key will his experience be for such a long squad? I had a quick look, and I think Albion had the second youngest squad by average age in the Premier League last season. I think that Milner would bump that up by quite a lot, I imagine. Bless him.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is a decision that makes total sense for all parties, I think. Obviously, Milner is closing in on Gareth Barry's record for Premier League appearances as well, and that would be a fitting way to end a remarkable career, really. And obviously, it was such a shame that he was limited to so few appearances last season. It was just 4 actually across the whole season because of an injury sustained in August against Arsenal, and he made his latest appearance on the last day of the season against Spurs, and it was only a couple of minutes, but it was great to see him come on, obviously, for that game. Fabian Hurst said at the time that it was a mark of respect to him as a thank you for kind of the work he's been doing kind of for the club whilst out injured. And that's one of the reasons he's probably been kept on, really, not just for what he does on the pitch, but what he does off the pitch as well. And that real leadership and experience is so valuable for what you've said is a really young team. So, after the decision was made, Hertz has said he's really pleased we will have James with us again this season. Last season, he wasn't able to help the team on the pitch as much as he would have liked, but around the squad, his experience is invaluable, especially for younger players. He's a great guy to have in our environment. He was always there for me and the team, and he's looking forward to working with him again. And we actually spoke to Milner in the mix zone after that Spurs game. He did hint that he was hoping to stay at the club, so it wasn't a huge shock when it was announced. And he said at the time he really hopes he can stay at the club in some form. You look at the season we've had with good players and good results. There have been times when we've dropped points and shouldn't have done. We need a bit of experience. You look at the players that come in, the likes of Mats FIFA, Brian Gruder. Difficult to come into a new team and country, but look how good they've been in the last few weeks. It takes time, and I'm excited to be here for sure. I'm excited for next year, and hopefully I can be part of it. So, yes, real good bit of news coming from Brighton, and they've managed to keep Milner on for another season, and I think it's a great move.
Absolutely, and fingers crossed he breaks that record as well. And finally, for part one, Brighton, as we mentioned, have learned their itinerary for the 2025-26 Premier League campaign just this morning. Derren, who did the Seagulls open and close the season against, and what are the other key fixtures Albion have to look forward to this season? I'm sure they'll be looking forward to their games against Palace this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think that's one of the first fixtures they always look out for. But yeah, we've got the full fixtures up on the Sussex World website at the moment. They're released this morning, and some good ones to look out for. Actually, they start at home against Fulham on August the 16th. So yeah, they it's sort of a reasonably sort of decent start, really. So hopefully they can get up and running with a good result against Fulham. And then they create their own little slice of history on August the 23rd. They go away to Everton, and it will be their first match in their sort of brand spanking new stadium, which they used to be their first Premier League match there. So that would be a nice moment for the Brighton fans, and I'm sure that will be that's due to be on August the 23rd. But I think that would probably be changed for a TV slot and a schedule nearer the time. But keep an eye on that one. That's going to be their first away match. Then, as you mentioned, the good old matches against Crystal Palace. So they've got November the 8th. They're away at Selhurst Park. And then it's at home to Palace on February the 7th as well. So Brighton would be hoping for better fortunes against Oliver Glasner's team than they had last season. So then around the Christmas time, they've got newly promoted Sunderland. They're at home on December the 20th. Arsenal away on December the 27th, and then West Ham on December the 30th. So that sort of makes up their festive fixtures. Then they finish with an easy 3 points against Man United on May the 24th next year. So yeah, lots to look out for. But as I mentioned, it's all on the Sussex World website. So get your dates locked in for your favourite Brighton matches. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can follow all the action as well for next season for every game from the Premier League, League Cup and FA Cup on sussexworld.co.uk/sport as well. We will take a quick break now, but when we return, we will be discussing all things Crawley Town. Welcome back to part 2, and our very own Mark Dunford, fresh from chatting with Crawley Town boss Scott Lindsay, had the pleasure of speaking with Reg Chairman and CEO Preston Johnson last week. When he spoke to Lindsay, Mark, he said the club were trying to bring in more experienced players this summer, but Preston seemed to have contradicted that somewhat. What did he have to say about Crawley's transfer policy, and what were the other key takeaways you gleaned from your chat with him?
Yeah, so it was an interesting one because, like you say, we spoke to Scott a couple of weeks ago, or week and a half ago. And I actually asked Scott, I said, from the outside looking in, it looks like there's been a transfer policy shift with the more experienced players coming in. Is that your influence? And he replied, yes. And then when we've chatted to Preston Johnson, he sort of said, there's been no transfer policy shift. Yes, we brought in McCurdy and Reece Brown. And he said because they both had elite data prior to their recent injury-plagued seasons. But then he said, but we're still looking for those hidden gems. And Scott Lindsay didn't say they weren't. They'd stopped looking for hidden gems. They're still, he said, we've also got to find those. But from what Scott said, he said, yes, we've got the data that WAGMI use, but we want the experience. We do need experience, etc. And you need to see a play. You need to know a player can do what you want them to do. You can't just go off a spreadsheet. I think that's what Scott said. But I think Preston Johnson's really pushing. There's been no policy shift. We're still using this. We found some brilliant hidden gems. Certainly the season before last, didn't they? I mean, obviously we all know what happened there. Whether you look at Clydie Lolos, people like that, they're just fantastic, and they've made a lot of money from those, I'm assuming. But it was interesting. He seemed a little bit defensive about what Scott said, and I've had more than one Crawley fan message me and say the two interviews seem very contradictory to each other. So you hope it's all happy behind the scenes. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's just us lot, the media and the fans reading between the lines, etc. But Preston Johnson also sort of, we're going to come on to him in a minute, but they said there's a little nugget for fans. They've just had someone in for a medical who's been playing in National League South for the past 2 seasons, and we think is promising. And he finished off by saying, we're proud of our recruiting process the last 2 years, and we will keep building on it. So they're still going to have this data model. They're still going to use the data to find these. I think previously somebody's called them undervalued and underappreciated players that have been with academies high standard but never quite made it, and then start playing in the National League and National League South. So it's a very interesting one. But I mean, you look at last summer, and I mean, they did sign some experienced players. They signed Toby Malarkey, another player we'll come on to later. Gavin Houlihan, 2 players with quite a lot of experience in the Football League and that. So And I think the only player that didn't have any Football League experience last year was Charlie Barker. And we all know the season he had. He finished with 2 or 3 awards at the end of season, awards player of the year. So it does work, the data model and that. I mean, they were just a little bit out of their depth last year. I think it might be a little bit too much too soon with Scott Lindsay leaving, etc. It was a sort of a bit of a doomed season. But hopefully this season it will all work. But we're all just waiting on tenterhooks now because the transfer window's back open. We're just waiting to see who they're going to sign. But we think we know who one of them is, don't we?
Yes, Sam, who do we think that this mystery National League South player is, using our deductive skills?
Yeah. So Preston Johnson told us a little nugget for the fans. We've just had someone in for a medical. He's been playing in National League South the past 2 seasons that we think is promising. We'd always be looking for hidden gems across multiple levels. We're proud of our recruiting process the last 2 years, and we'll keep building on it. And fans are predicting that man is Danny Cashman, who's just left Worthing. 24 years old, he signed for the Rebels in September 2023, following the cancellation of his contract with Coventry City, having previously been highly rated at Brighton and Hove Albion during his time in the Seagulls Academy. He helped the club reach the playoff final in the first season, scoring in the 4-3 defeat to Braintree Town, and ending the season with 16 goals in all competitions. And after leaving the club on May 27, it looked like Southend, who lost the National League playoff final to Oldham, had signed him. But we heard reports that move was off. And League Two club had emerged as front runners to sign Cashman with a late contract offer at the 11th hour. That was from London Shrimper on X. And after Johnson's comments, it sounds like the fans are convinced that it will be Danny Cashman's coming to the Broadfield Stadium. So, an intriguing one.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't know anything for certain yet, do we, Mark? We should stress that. But how excited should Crawley fans be if they do complete the signing of Cashman? Sam's mentioned there that he's got a great goal return while at Worthing, but how would it fit in with the new signing of Harry McCurdy? Sorry, because I don't think Lindsay usually plays 2 up top, unless I'm mistaken.
He doesn't. No, he normally has that one sort of behind the front person. And I imagine that would be where Danny Cashman sort of sits, him just behind McCurdy, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But it's exciting for Crawley fans because that they have lacked up front. I mean, you had Will Swan and Russia and Hepburn Murphy last year. Swan never really fired. He had a little bit of a purple patch at one point, but and Hepburn Murphy at the end of the season, but now he's gone. So I think Crawley fans just like to see a bit of excitement with a load of attacking options, and with Cashman and McCurdy, maybe it's one or the other, and they will back each other up. And yeah, who knows? But it's an exciting one. I think when he left Worthing, they put out a statement saying that he had moments of magic over the season, and that's what you want as a football fan. You want to see a player have moments of magic. He sounds like he can score goals from all areas, outside the box, inside the box. He's got good footwork. It could be exciting. I mean, you're hoping he could be another Clydie Lollos, as we mentioned earlier, someone like that who's going to come in and just sort of wow the Crawley fans, and you wonder why Coventry City let him go. People like that, Rochdale, I think he played for as well. So it could be exciting. But yeah, how it's actually going to work with the formation, I suppose we'll have to wait for pre-season to come up, won't we? But going to be exciting. But McCurdy and Cashman, it gives me a little bit more excitement than the attacking options last year. So who knows? Yeah,
it's worth mentioning as well that sorry, I was going to say it's worth mentioning the Cashman's from Crawley as well. He's born and bred in Crawley, so it'll be a bit of a homecoming for him as well, which is probably another reason why he might be intrigued by the move. I think that probably bodes well as well. Yeah,
watch this space. You've mentioned departures, Mark. One that we couldn't quite fit into last week's podcast was the departure of Toby Malarkey. The defender left the club to join fellow League Two side Fleetwood Town on a permanent transfer for an undisclosed fee. Sam, how big of a loss will Malarkey be to Lindsay's backline, and what was the fan reaction? To his departure?
Yeah, no, it's a shame to see Toby Malarkey go. The 29-year-old joined the Reds in July 2024 and quickly became one of the regular starters for the Reds. This incredible run of playing every minute of the League One campaign lasted until early December, when he was forced to sit out Crawley's trip to Charlton. He featured 37 times for Crawley, scoring 1 goal in the Emirates FA Cup game away at Maidenhead. Wishing him well for the future. The club obviously announced that he was to leave this summer, and thanked him for his hard work during his time at the club. And Crawley fans have, in response, wished him well as well. And most do seem to think he's replaceable. There isn't a huge amount of anger that he's leaving, but I think that people are just saying he's another decent player who gave his all last year, and they wish him best for the future. But there were a couple of people saying that the club perhaps not learning lessons from last summer, and they need to be keeping players like Malarkey, obviously that bit of experience, and obviously clearly he was doing something right to have played every minute until December. So I'm not sure I agree with the fans that said he wasn't a high enough standard. I think he definitely was. So yeah, it's a shame to see him go, and like the club, we wish him well for the future.
It's an interesting one because if all the defenders are fit, because obviously you had Josh Flint who was out for a long period last year, and Joy McKenna was out missed most of the season after a freak training accident, I think it was. Joey McKenna obviously they're still negotiating with him with regard to contract, as is Dion Conroy. So if they keep McKenna and Conroy, then you've got Flint, Barker. That's quite a lot of options for a 3-man defence. So so it could be, and if Malarkey was still there as well, you'd think, would his playing time be limited? Because you'd imagine the way Charlie Barker performed, Scott Lindsay's always going to pick Dion Conroy if he's fit. And then you got Josh Flint, Charlie Barker. So he's limited. If everybody was fit, his options could have been limited. That might have. But he's from up north as well, so going back up from the north. So, it could be a good move for all parties, to be honest, I think.
And finally, the Reds have confirmed their final friendly fixture of the summer. FA Cup holders Crystal Palace will visit the Broadfield Stadium for a third consecutive season on Friday, the 25th of July, with kickoff scheduled for 7:30. It's a great way for the Reds to finish pre-season, isn't it, Mark? And no doubt in front of a big crowd too.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Nice under the Friday night lights. It's I always find the Saturday afternoon pre-season kickoffs a bit odd because it's the cricket season. Let people enjoy cricket on a Saturday. So it's nice that they've got the Friday night for it, because I think you'll get a lot more people there for a Friday night. And I imagine it's going to be warm, so it's nice to have it so the fans aren't sweltering and the players aren't sweltering. I know they've got Portsmouth the week before, haven't they, on the Saturday?
Yes.
But it's nice, and it's a bit of excitement with a team that have going to be playing in. Well, are they playing in Europe this year? I think they are, aren't they?
At the moment, yes, I think.
FA Cup holders. I mean, I know before they bought Eberechi Eze and people like that with them, and they destroyed Crawley. But it'll be interesting what sort of side they do bring, and you'd like to think they'd bring a couple of big names and maybe give them a few minutes. But it's an exciting way to finish the season. And Lindsay said to me last week about the friendlies. It's nice how they're sort of they escalate. So they're starting obviously with that training game in Spain against Hearts, but then there's Three Bridges, East Grinstead, then going up a level to Dagenham, then going up a level to Portsmouth, and then going up a level to Crystal Palace. So it's a really nice way to build up into the season.
It is indeed. Right, I think that's it, unless people are desperate to speak about the Club World Cup or anything like that. I suppose we're not.
Just a quick mention.
Go Botafogo. Yeah.
And a quick mention to Jack Hinchelwood and James Beadle. They're going to be in England
Yes.
under 21 action tonight against Germany. So best of luck to those two as well.
Absolutely. Best of luck to them indeed. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week, chaps. You can catch up with all the latest sports news covering everything we've talked about today at sussexworld.co.uk/sport. And you can watch more excellent videos on shotstv.com and Freeview channel 262. Thank you very much for listening and or watching, and we will see you all very, very soon.